nominee, the sponsoring senator will join for a picture right up front here. If your family's with you, they're welcome to join the picture. Whenever you're done, be sure that the senators all sign at staff desk a document that we need. So we will start with Justin McCarty, appointed to the Board of Boiler and Pressure Vessel Rules, Senator Crawford.
We actually have a quorum after I do roll call.
We do have a quorum now, so we'll go ahead and call the roll.
Senators O'Laughlin.
Here.
Luetkemeyer. Bean. Here. Beck. Here. Bratton. Brown. Here. Berger. Moon. Mosley. Here. Roberts. Williams.
All right. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Sandy Crawford, District 28. It's my pleasure to present to you this morning Justin McCarty for the Board of Boiler and Pressure Vessel Rules. Justin, as you can see from his application, has a wealth of experience in this field, over 10 years, and I think he will make a great addition to that board, and it's my pleasure to sponsor him this morning.
All right. Does anyone have any questions or comments? You're in. Thank you. Thank you for being willing to serve. Next up is Melinda Robertson, appointed to the Missouri Ethics Commission, also Senator Crawford.
Good morning again. For the record, Sandy Crawford, District 28, and it's also my pleasure to present to you this morning Melinda Robertson for the Missouri Ethics Commission. I've known Melinda for many years. She has extensive county government experience. She worked in the county clerk's office for many years before becoming the county clerk herself. She has over 29 years of local government experience. As you can imagine, being the county clerk, you are the election authority in the county, so she's very familiar with all things elections, and it's my pleasure to sponsor her this morning.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Senator Luetkemeyer.
Thank you. Thank you for your willingness to serve. This is like a question I think I've asked every single commissioner since I've been on this committee. So, you know, the role of the commission, of course, is to enforce the ethics laws that are either passed by the legislature or, you know, passed by the people through the ballot. And there's kind of, you know, differing perspectives on sort of the role of the ethics commission. There's one of, like, you know, a watchdog, you know, where you're just making sure that, you know, rules aren't you know, being broken and you're enforcing the law. And then there have been states where there have been ethics commissions where it's like an attack dog is the analogy, where it's like we're looking for every possible reason to go after people. And again, we want you enforcing the ethics laws that have been written by the General Assembly and been you know, passed by the people. Between those two different sort of approaches to the job, how would you sort of view your role on the commission?
Well, I think we're somewhat watchdogs, but we're not going after, you know, as Stacy has told us, they have a whole office staff that's there willing to help. You know, they have a website that's got information, training videos for people. And so they really reach out. People can reach out to them and actually come to the office and fill out their forms if they have trouble. So I think they go above and beyond to try to work with people to get their campaign finance reports in order if they don't understand. So, you know, I think they come to us when they get to the point where they've ignored maybe the Ethics Commission, and that's, you know, that's when we see them. Yeah,
and by the way, that has been my experience with the commission. You know, I have the misfortune of being an attorney, and my wife actually practices campaign finance law, so I've got somebody in-house that I can talk to whenever I have a question. But, you know, some of the campaign finance laws are, complex. They're ever evolving, and I think most of the members of the General Assembly are trying to be compliant. And I'm happy to hear that you kind of view the Ethics Commission more in the line of being a resource to members to get compliant, as opposed to just going out and finding ways to ding people. Understanding, of course, when there are egregious violations.
Yes.
Fines need to happen, and there needs to be enforcement of the law. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments? Senator?
Hi. My problem with the Ethics Commission is that when you email them, they don't like to email back. They only like to answer questions by phone. So there's no paper trail of what your answer was to the question, and then you can always change your mind about what your answer was. So are you all inclined now to start answering questions in email so that we can?
That would probably be a question for Stacy to answer. I don't have any knowledge of their office procedures, so I would say the director is the one you would need to address that to.
Okay, I'll do that.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Any other, Senator Moon?
Melinda, it's good to see you again. And I have a question for probably the same as what I'll ask Brandon in a minute or two when he gets up, but what caused you to have an interest in being a part of the Ethics Commission?
Well, somebody reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested, and I kind of had to have an overview of, I knew what the Ethics Commission was, but I didn't really know what entailed the job. And so I think my years of experience and Ashley being a candidate, I have filled out many PFDs and, campaign finance reports. So I just thought maybe it might be something. I'm retired, semi-retired, and I thought it might be something that would kind of keep my foot in the door of county government, sort of. And then yet, because I have so much knowledge, I thought maybe it could be helpful. So.
Well, thank you for being willing to do that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Next up is Charles McClure, Senator Hough.
Good morning, members of the committee. Senator Lincoln Hough, representing the city of... Oh, God. Hang on, we have to take a picture first. Very formal, Harrison. Again, Senator Lincoln Hough, representing the 30th Senatorial District, the city of Springfield, before you this morning for the same position as the last appointee. The Ethics Commission is Ken McClure. Ken probably, as I kind of look around the room, Ken probably has more experience in this building than anyone, not only in this room, but probably in the building. Served as the Director of Senate Appropriations for a number of years, was the Chief of Staff for Governor Matt Blunt, served on the PSC, was the mayor for 8 years of the city of Springfield. And Senator Moon, to your question, it was the first thing I asked him when he said, would you go ahead and sponsor me for this position? I said, why in the world do you want to serve on the Ethics Commission? He said, similarly to the last appointee, semi-retired, want to stay involved. It's interesting work. And I said, all right. I believe he has about 6 or 7 weeks left to serve in this role. I believe his term expires, and as the way I read the statute, he cannot be reappointed and cannot serve on an expired term, and I believe he's finished the 15th of March. So, assuming that we eventually give our advice and consent from the Senate, he would serve for about 7 more weeks in this role. Now, Senator Luetkemeyer, to your question, seemingly the easiest way to not worry about the role of these individuals in this capacity would be to just not approve them. And then we wouldn't have an ethics commission, because we had that for a while under the last administration, if you recall. Right. So, happy to answer any questions for Ken this morning.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Well, Senator Lukemeyer.
Mr. Mayor, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Despite your cantankerous state senator who represents you. So same question as before to the last commissioner, and actually my analogy was maybe a guide dog versus a guard dog would be the better analogy. Is it, in your view, is it the role of the commission to help members, become compliant with ever-changing complex campaign finance laws, or is it to, find every possible, way to find people, understanding, of course, that when there are egregious violations, we do understand the law needs to be enforced? That's the question.
The guide dog analogy is very appropriate, and that's certainly my view on it. I like the discussion before, talking about an education, talking about a resource there. I've run for office 5 times in the city of Springfield, so I kind of know what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. And there are frivolous complaints that really have no merit, and you need to deal with those correctly. But when there are violations, you also need to deal with those. But I like your guide dog analogy very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it.
Senator Moon.
Good morning again, Ken.
Good morning, sir.
I was concerned that after our brief encounter this morning that you had contracted laryngitis and couldn't answer your own questions. Now, I'm sure you'll corroborate what Senator Hough said, but do you have anything to add to that?
No, I was asked if I would serve on this, and as I say, having been in office for 10 years, I kind of know what you're supposed to do and what you're not. But I was asked to if I would be interested in applying for it.
Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
willingness to serve.
Thank you so much.
Nice time, Tony.
Julie Leicht? Is that Leicht? Senator Beck. Also the Missouri Ethics Commission.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, committee. I am Senator Doug Beck, representing the 1st Senatorial District. I am proud to formally introduce Julie Leicht to the Missouri Ethics Commission. Julie has been a dedicated leader in the public sector for over 25 years. For the last 14 years, Julie has served as Democratic Deputy Director for the St. Louis County Board of Elections, where she was responsible for maintaining the integrity and transparency of our democratic process. Her leadership extends further, having served as the Executive Director for the Children's Service Fund and Missouri Alliance for Animal Legislation. Across these diverse roles, Julie has consistently demonstrated a deep understanding of administrative oversight and the importance of public trust. And on a personal note, I've known Julie for quite a while right now, and she's one of the more ethical people that I've ever met in my life. And I think she would be a good. Well, she's already serving on the commission now. She'll help in that role on the Missouri Ethics Commission. And with that, Julie or myself can take any questions.
All right, thank you.
Same question as before. I have to keep it fair. Guard dog, guide dog. Kind of where do you fall on the spectrum on the role of the commission?
I agree with my fellow commission members that we are more of a guiding force for the campaigns, but we've been meeting recently, but we're not afraid to administer the fines if there is gross negligence and that people are ignoring the efforts of the Missouri Ethics Commission.
Yeah, no, and again, I don't want any questions to be misconstrued as, if there are egregious ethics violations, we expect that the law is going to be enforced. In fact, when we're not in this committee, the committee that I chair is the Ethics Committee, and we've been fortunate enough not to have to meet as an Ethics Committee since I've been in the Senate, and I hope that continues to be the case. But we would take those responsibilities very seriously as well if we ever had a member that was in some kind of ethical quandary. So thank you for your answer. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Senator Moon?
And my question, Ms. Light, is similar to what I asked Ken and the others with regard to your purpose. And it seems like you've got a lot of experience there in relation to the commission. But in your own words, Tell me what interests you most about being part of the Ethics Commission.
Well, I recently retired in December of 2024. I made it through the presidential election and then decided to retire. So I've been in public service my whole life. I've served in a variety of positions, and I think I bring to the table common sense and leadership, and I've been on the political side, and I've also been, a public servant as well. So I think I bring a unique perspective to the board. So as the others said, being retired, I was looking for some way to be of service and to give back a little bit and still be involved in government, and I think this is a perfect fit.
We try not to have common sense.
I know, I'm sorry. Sometimes it comes in handy.
That'll be a valuable. Anyone else? See none. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you sign up?
Next up is Senator Lewis with Brandon Boulware. He also is going on to the Ethics Commission.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, for the record, I'm Senator Patty Lewis, representing Senatorial District 7. I'm excited to present Brandon Boulware for his appointment to the Missouri Ethics Commission. Brandon is an accomplished attorney with nearly 2 decades of experience handling complex, high-stake cases across Missouri, Kansas, and the country. He is widely respected by his peers for his judgment and integrity. Brandon is a strong choice for the commission because he believes in a robust, fully functioning ethics commission is foundational to effective government, public trust in Missouri. With a long-standing commitment to public service, he is well-positioned to serve the state with character and focus. Thank you to the members of the committee for your consideration of Brandon's appointment.
All right.
Same question, Mr. Boulware.
And I echo what my hopefully fellow commissioners said. Certainly guide dog. There's a reason why they don't give us a badge. I think the purpose of the Missouri Ethics Commission is, yes, keep people ethical, keep people abiding by the rules, but help guide them along the way. Because I agree with you. Some of the rules are rather complex. And we've been meeting for the last couple months, and I can say, when I read a rule, I've got to read it a couple more times because it's not obvious to me just what compliance looks like. And I am pleased to report that over the last couple months of meetings, the vast majority of public officials, committees, candidates, treasurers, are meeting the rules. And then the subset that are not, that comes before our committee, the vast majority of those, it's not intentionally violating rules, not flaunting rules, rather it's mistakes. And I don't think the purpose of the MEC is to penalize those folks into oblivion. It's very rare for there to be, at least in my experience so far, for there to be an egregious violation.
Anyone else? Senator Moon.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Boulware.
Morning, Senator Moon.
My first question is, how good is your memory?
How good is my memory?
Yes.
It's pretty good.
Oh, crud. I wish the committee could hear our conversation of yesterday. I thought it was funny, but at the same time, it might not have been funny. But I appreciate your sense of humor. And my question for you is based on our conversation yesterday about your intent. Why do you want to be a part of the Ethics Commission? Your answer, I thought, was a really good one, too. So if you wouldn't mind to share that with the committee.
Sure. A couple points I'd make. One, I think we all agree that having a fully functioning Missouri Ethics Commission is very important. There were a long period of time where we didn't have that, and that wasn't a great look for our state. I'm a lawyer. I began my career clerking actually across the street. I'm directionally challenged, but Missouri Supreme Court for Chief Justice Limbaugh. And as a lawyer, I deal with questions of ethics all the time, certainly on a weekly basis, and the nuances of the ethical rules. And I find them very interesting. Maybe it just makes me a nerd. I don't know, but what I do know is that we have to have a set of rules, laws that we abide by, we all comply with, or this whole thing falls apart. And so hopefully that answers your question. It's an honor to be nominated and hopefully serve on the MEC.
Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve. Thank you for
Senator.
being here today. Dawn. Okay, next up is Dawn Heizman. Senator Lewis, appointed to the State Board of Registration of Healing Arts.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, for the record, I'm State Senator Patty Lewis, representing Senate District 7. I'm excited to be here with you today to present Dr. Dawn Heizman for her appointment to the Missouri Board of Healing Arts. Dr. Heizman is an OBGYN at North Kansas City Hospital. She brings more than a decade of clinical experience and physician leadership focused on patient safety, quality of care, and professional standards, making her an excellent choice to serve the people of Missouri. Dr. Heizman's commitment to patient safety, professional accountability, and responsible oversight directly reflects the values of the board, and the board is charged with upholding. Thank you for your consideration of Dr. Heizman's appointment.
All right, thank you. Any questions? We feel like we don't have enough medical knowledge. Well, seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve. Next up, Stephanie Dooley, appointed to the Ethics Commission. Senator Williams.
Good morning, members of the committee, Madam Chairwoman. My name is Brian Williams, representing the 14th Senatorial District. Today is my distinct honor and privilege to present to you a friend, someone I've known a very long time, Stephanie Dooley, for your consideration. As you all know, Stephanie's been appointed by the governor to serve on the Missouri's Ethics Commission, and currently she serves as the Director of Admission and Placement at City Academy. She's been there for quite a while, has exemplified quite a bit of leadership qualities there in a mission to transform children, families, and the community through exceptional education that empowers children to overcome barriers. She received her Master's in Business Administration from Webster University in St. Louis, got a finance degree from the University of Missouri, as well as a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. With that, I think that she is someone who has exemplified great qualities not only in our community, but also has an opportunity to do that at the state level as a gubernatorial appointee. Again, known her a very long time, very just pleased with her ability to serve on a committee to oversee really important statutes that impact so much of what we do, the electoral process and things of that nature. So with that, I present to you Ms. Stephanie Dooley.
All right, thank you.
Ma'am, I'm not going to hold it against you who your sponsoring senator is. I'm kidding. Same question that I had for the other commissioner nominees. Role of the commission, guard dog versus guide dog.
And we work, thank you, we work pretty well together, serving as a resource for people that have questions or have not necessarily followed the guidelines. But it's been really a pleasure working with the staff. They do a really great job in reaching out.
All right, any other questions? Senator Moon?
I'll ask the same question as well that I asked the others about your interest, particularly in serving on the commission.
I am also, I'm not an attorney, but I am a lay member of the Regional Disciplinary Committee, and I enjoy working with people, learning different perspectives, and working across the aisle, and that's what really brought me to this position. I also personally govern myself with a lot of integrity, and I consider myself to be a very ethical person.
All right. Seeing no other questions, thank you for your willingness to serve. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Next up, Nelson Dinsmore, Linn County Presiding Commissioner, Senator Black.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee, for allowing me to present Mr. Dinsmore. Luckily for you, I didn't do it ad lib. I do have a script, so it'll take a lot less time if I do that. And please don't ask him or the next person any questions about me personally. I am pleased to introduce Nelson Dinsmore for appointment as Presiding Commissioner of Linn County. Mr. Dinsmore is a lifelong Linn County resident, raised on a grain and livestock farm south of Meadville, Missouri. He is a graduate of Meadville R4 and holds degrees in animal science and agronomy from Missouri Western State University in St. Joseph. For more than 30 years, he has been co-owner and general manager of Butterfield and Associates Grain in Meadville and is a licensed certified crop advisor. Nelson has a long record of public and community service, including serving as president of the Meadville R4 School Board, Meadville City Alderman, Township Board, and in numerous other civic and faith-based organizations. He and his wife, Kimberly, have raised their family in Linn County, where he continues to farm and raise cattle. Mr. Dinsmore brings experience, steady leadership, and a deep understanding of rural issues, and I respectfully ask the committee to give favorable consideration to his appointment, and I've been able to observe all these great characteristics of Mr. Dinsmore since starting about 1989.
All right, I have a question. What do you think is the biggest issue that the commission faces?
I think the biggest issue that we have right now, obviously, is the process we just finished, is the budget. And moving forward to provide county services and to meet our needs of our constituents and do it in a respectable manner. And I feel like that the county is the backbone of the local communities, and especially in Linn County, that's very true. And it's very important that we take a look at those and see what's really important and what we need to do.
Do you see, I mean, revenue is always the problem. Declining population numbers and tax revenue. Do you see any light at the end of that tunnel, or do you just think it's just going to keep going the way it is?
Well, Senator O'Loughlin, I welcome the challenge, and that's what I signed up for, and I'm willing to serve. I've got over 40 years of business management running a private business, and we've been profitable every year, ma'am, and I feel like I'm up for the challenge, but it's going to be a challenge. I'm here to tell you we are not naive to the fact that the revenue stream is going to have to change, especially in a rural county such as Linn, and but I welcome the challenge and am here to serve.
Thank you. Any other questions? Senator Moon?
I noticed on your biography, Mr. Dinsmore, that you maintain a small herd of Texas Longhorns. What is small? How many would that be?
Approximately 25 head, Senator.
And then you have commercial cattle as well?
Yes, sir.
Is that still in the small range, or is that a little bit more?
Yeah, so the commercial cattle's like 30 head, so I have maybe 50 head total, 50 to 60.
Very good. Most of these headings started with the letter M, but I noticed a couple of G's. Tell me what a Gideon's member is.
A Gideon's member is based on the biblical representative of Gideon in spreading the word, the Bible in particular, distributing those in hotels, universities, schools where it's allowed, and just basically getting the word of God out.
Yeah, good. I've come across a number of those Bibles when you open that top drawer in a lot of hotels. Thank you for that. Hinging on or piggybacking on what Senator Laughlin talked about with the budgets, I don't see many requests for cutting. It seems like we're always growing budgets and trying to continue to offer programs or services. Some of those are necessary. Have you and the other commissioners begun to think about what cuts might be made and to hold a strict line to that to make ends meet?
We have certainly, Senator, when we're at conferences, MAC or CCAM conferences, which is our associations, there's discussion among the commissioners and how we're going to deal with that. I would be amiss if I didn't tell you the first comment is usually, what are we going to do? Because the revenue is going to dry out. But that's what we're in position to do, sir, is to analyze that and take a look at it. I don't have a direct answer right now, but we have to look at the budget's line item and go through each one of them and how it pertains to our individual counties and use the best use of the resources that we will have.
And as I was listening to you with your answer there, I was thinking about most commissions that I'm familiar with, and of course I don't know how all of them, each of them work, but how much community buy-in do you get? How often do residents of the county come in and listen to your deliberations or offer input or advice or anything else? Is there a good participation in the county?
Our particular commission meets one day a week, sir, a full day, and every day that we meet there will be either a phone call or a constituent come in to discuss a problem, a situation, or why the commission has made the decision they have made. So on a daily basis that we're serving, we're dealing with those things, and education is the key. In our particular county, I will be in favor of more town hall meetings to try to educate the constituents on some of these new bills that are coming down and how it's going to affect us.
Senator Berger?
Thank you. Do you serve in that capacity now?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
I was appointed in July and then stepped down during the special session and then was reappointed.
Okay. So you've been through the budget process?
Yes, sir. This is my first time.
What is your, do you know what the balance of your tax revenue comes from as far as sales tax or property tax rates?
Yeah, the sales tax is the biggest part. Property tax does make up a nice portion of it.
Do you know what a half-cent sales tax brings you? I'm not familiar with Linn County at all. What's the population there?
We are a little over 11,000.
What's a half-cent sales tax bring Linn County? Do you know that?
Our tax revenues, sales tax, I believe, is in the area of $9 million altogether, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for being here.
Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Rolfe McCoy, appointed to the Missouri Dental Board, Senator Black.
Madam Chairman, members of the committee, for good reason we have a script. This person I met in the 6th or 7th grade at his grandmother's. I am pleased to introduce Dr. Rolfe Chadwick McCoy for appointment to the Missouri Dental Board. Dr. McCoy is a lifelong Missourian and a graduate of Chillicothe High School. He earned his Bachelor's of Arts degree in biology from Washington University and a Doctor of Dental Medicine from Washington University School of Dental Medicine. He has practiced dentistry in north central Missouri for nearly 4 decades and is a managing partner of McCoy Samples and Mattingly Dental Clinic, with locations serving multiple rural communities across our region. In addition to his extensive private practice experience, Dr. McCoy has an exceptional record of service to the dental profession in the state of Missouri. He has served as president of the Northwest Missouri Dental Society, held multiple leadership roles within the Missouri Dental Association, and previously served on the Missouri Dental Board, including as board president and vice president. He has also been deeply involved in dental education, licensure testing, public health initiatives, and access to care efforts, particularly in the rural and underserved populations. Dr. McCoy brings experience, integrity, and strong commitment to public service, and I respectfully ask the committee to give favorable consideration to his appointment.
There's nothing I dread more than going to the dentist. And I think we all feel that way. Senator Bratton, did you have a question?
Did you say that you've known each other for a long time? Okay. Well, the senator is very well known for his stories on the Senate floor. Do you happen to have any stories about him?
We're not discussing those early years.
No, thank you very much. I was just messing with him.
Anyone else have any questions? Senator Moon?
Dr. McCoy, there has been, whether it's somewhat questionable, and I'm just asking you from your expert opinion in the dental field, whether the use of amalgam fillings with that contain silver, there's been some reports that they may have some impact on mental acuity and long-term issues with memory. And is there, because of that, if that's true, is there an increase on using ceramics or porcelain fillings that might be taking the place? And do you see that personally, or in your profession, as an issue with using the silver amalgam fillings?
I will tell you that there are always questions about material that we use, and I can honestly say that it can affect some people. I can also say that I'm a third-generation dentist, and I have silver fillings in my mouth, and my dad was a dentist and also had silver fillings, and he made it to 94 with sound mind. Now, does that mean that there aren't issues with it? There are. I can also tell you that currently most of the education, the universities, dental universities in the country, pretty much avoid it, but it still has its uses.
And do some of those amalgam fillings contain mercury?
It does, but you have to understand that the simplistic way of making it is H2O is water. It has oxygen and hydrogen, but when coupled, it makes water. When that mercury is in that filling, it is bound, and it just doesn't freely come off. If you have time afterwards, I'd love to get more in depth with it, but
I have had some constituents asking questions about that, so I would like to have further discussion if you're able.
Okay,
That'd be great.
sure.
Thank you.
Well, now we have to worry about our fillings. Does anyone else have a question? Thank you for being willing to serve.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
being here today. Next up is Calvin Mott, also appointed to the Dental Board. Senator Brown.
How are you? All right. Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for having us here this morning. I am here to present Dr. Calvin Mott to the Missouri Dental Board. Dr. Mott practices in Rolla, which is my hometown. He is married to Tammy and has 3 children. He's graduated from the University of Arkansas with a bachelor's degree and University of Louisville School of Dentistry. He manages a busy rural dental practice in Rolla, and I can vouch for that, and I think that he will be a great asset to the Missouri Dental Board.
Is he your dentist? Is he your dentist? No, well, uh-oh, no.
He can be, though.
Yeah.
That's why he agreed to sponsor me, right?
Yes.
I'm actually in the market for one. I've been going to my dentist since I was 3 years old, Gene Grover District.
Yep, Dr. Grover retired. He did.
All right, does anyone have any questions? Senator Beck. I'll let him go first.
I just one question, Doctor. Did you help the senator pick out those glasses? I'm just curious.
Got him at Menards.
Thanks.
Dr. Mott, I'll ask you the same question with regard to fillings, whether amalgam with the silver and the mercury or composites. Is there discussion in your realm about the safety and efficacy of them, and what is your opinion?
So there's always a question of the safety for the amalgam part, the mercury part of the amalgam filling. The American Dental Association right now still classifies amalgam fillings as a safe filling material to be used. I will tell you that I don't use amalgam fillings anymore. Not because I was worried about the safety of it, but because nobody wants a black filling in the back of their teeth anymore. Everybody wants a prettier white tooth. And so most of what I do now is composites or porcelain veneers, porcelain crowns and stuff. The American Dental Association still says it's very safe to use. I don't even have a triturator in my office anymore, so I can't use it at all. Yep.
Senator Bratton.
To kind of piggyback upon, the old practices versus new, I know fluoride in our water, was always for dental health, but now it's coming out as being a pretty disgusting toxin. But what are your thoughts? I mean, I know there's a potential for the being down such a low level that it may not be, but it may. So, what's your thoughts on that?
So, for me in dentistry, we have to understand that there's 2 different ways to think about fluoride. One is topical fluoride, and that's what dentists like. We like topical fluoride to help prevent decay, to help reharden enamel, and then there's systemic fluoride. That's the fluoride that we're swallowing through the public system. At the level that it's at, which is 0.7 parts per million, it again is considered safe by public health, everybody, American Dental Association. In my practice personally, most of my patients are drinking bottled water anyway. So when they come to me and they say, hey, they're going to take the fluoride out of the city water, do I want that to happen? No, I do not want that to happen. I do think it's a public safety and a public health thing, and it is helping. But most of people now are drinking from a bottled water, and they're not getting the fluoride at any kind of high level from tap water. just was talking about this the other day and found out that my own 3 kids, have never drank out of a water hose. So I don't know how that happened. Yeah, I know. That's one of the great pleasures in life.
I think that's what's wrong with America. They're not drinking out of water hoses.
That's one of the great pleasures, but yeah, I don't know how we missed that one. But I can't remember the last time I saw one of my kids walk up and just fill tap water. It's bottled water all the time. But for us arguing fluoride for or against it, dentists are going to go for topical fluoride versus systemic fluoride. And I think topical fluoride is very safe and very effective, and we need topical fluoride.
Senator Brown.
A little bit of a self-serving question here. I have
Yes.
a 9-year-old at home, and he's all about this auto brush thing that I'm sure you're familiar with. What are your opinions on that? Does it really work? It seems like it's too good to be true.
It's too good to be true.
Okay.
I feel that it's too good to be true. I don't even use an electric toothbrush. I use a manual toothbrush, and I will continue to use a manual toothbrush as long as I have the dexterity to do what I need to do with it. Where we're going to go into, for me, something to help us brush is going to be an electric brush with a bigger handle, because I can't hold that little handle to get where I need it. There's going to be a lot of things, obviously TikTok and Facebook, that people are going to read and come in and ask me about, and I'm almost always going to hand them a manual toothbrush and a tube of Crest or Colgate and say, every day, twice a day, get some floss.
Some things are just better done the old-fashioned way, I guess.
I agree. Some things
Thank
are
you.
just better the old-fashioned way.
The internet has made us all experts at everything. Any other questions? Oh, Senator Moon.
With regard to the question about the fluorides, what impact would sealants have? I know some kids years ago used to get sealants on their teeth, and they would be cavity-free for a time until it wore off. Maybe they replaced it with another application. But does that contain fluoride, or is it just sealing the teeth where cavities can't form in those pockets? And would that be more effective than the fluoride treatments?
So there are sealants that have fluoride that they can extrude into the tooth structure, and there's some that don't. I do use some that do. The difference between fluoride and sealants is really where they're going to help. So a sealant is going to help on the chewing tooth with the fissures of the tooth, and the fluoride from the water and the topical fluoride is going to help more on a smooth surface, like the front side or the back side of the tooth. So my patients, I almost always recommend sealants for all my kid patients in there. There's reasons why not to do a sealant. One is because there's already a stain in that groove. If there's already a stain in that groove, I'm not going to put a sealant over the top of that stain. So now we're going to hit it with fluoride. And we're going to hit it with fluoride treatment at that office or at that appointment in the office. You're welcome.
Senator Mosley, you have a question?
So what do you think about whitening your teeth?
So it's a cosmetic procedure. If you do it properly, it's not hurting anything. I don't do a lot of in-office whitening anymore because over-the-counter whitening is honestly that good. Somebody comes in and says, where should I start with whitening? I'm going to lean them towards a Crest White Strip from Walmart for $30 and let them go that way and tell them, read the instructions and follow the instructions. As far as just everybody having piano white teeth, I'm not a big fan. I like to mimic nature, and so if somebody comes in and they are, 75 years old, they probably don't need toilet bowl white teeth. They probably need a shade appropriate that looks very nice for them. So yes, I do whitening. Am I whitening my teeth every month? I'm not. I don't recommend my kids whiten until they're older. It can cause some sensitivity. So yes, I whiten teeth. Am I a big fan of piano white teeth? No.
Any further questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up is Monica Lyle for the Child Abuse and Neglect Review Board. Senator Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I am here again today to present Monica Lyle. Monica will be appointed to the Missouri Child Abuse and Neglect Review Board. Monica resides in St. James, so she's one of my constituents in my home county. She graduated from Drury University with a bachelor's degree in psychology and criminal justice and a master's degree in counseling from Missouri Baptist University. Her professional experience as a school counselor and a senior CASA advocate working closely with children, families, and community partners. With that, we will entertain any questions.
Any questions for this nominee? Senator Moon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This question will be probably the same for most of the abuse board. And I'm not sure exactly how to put it delicately. However, there are reports, whether true or false, I can't corroborate or even deny, that there appears to be more toward the trafficking side of it, where there are some elected officials, perhaps even law enforcement, involved in perpetuating it. In your opinion, what can be done to bring that to a halt? Because there has to be accountability, and I can only imagine the pressures that there might be in your case as well when you're looking to put a stop to that. What, in your opinion, would be a way to address it?
I think it starts at the elementary level with communication, consistency, and retention. And when we focus on communication and consistency, then hopefully we can regain that retention to be able to tackle that issue.
I'm actually not sure if I can wrap my head around all that, what you said, even though it was a short sentence. I'm just kind of imploring or encouraging you to not just have a central focus, which I'm not saying that you will, but for all those who are going to be participating in this endeavor, to have a wide view. And even if it includes those that I mentioned, elected, appointed, whomever it might be, that they be held accountable.
Absolutely. I agree.
Thank you.
Any further questions for the nominee? Hearing none, thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you for your time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up is Brian Adelsberger, Child Abuse and Neglect Board. Senator Schroer, whenever you're ready.
Excuse me. Picture. Do we smile or not? What are you going to do? Let's smile. Let's smile. Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, I'm going to be brief on this one. It's Brian Adelsberger of Darden Prairie, who was appointed to the Child Abuse and Neglect Review Board. He's a detective sergeant in St. Charles County Police Department. He's an active member on the American Association of Police Polygraphists, the Missouri Polygraph Association, and the California Homicide Investigators Association. He currently sits on the St. Charles County Domestic Violence Board and serves as the chair of the St. Charles County Child Fatality Review Board. Mr. Adelsberger earned his master's degree in criminal justice and sociology from Lincoln University, and I am glad to be up here supporting him in his endeavors on the Child Abuse and Neglect Review Board. I'd be glad to take any questions.
Any questions for the nominee? Senator Moon.
Good morning again.
Good morning, sir.
We had the opportunity to meet just briefly this morning, and I didn't ask the question that I asked the previous member or appointee, but I'd like to pose that to you. What in your opinion is the answer if along the way you suspect or find someone who is in a high position who may be complicit in some wrongdoing? How will you handle that?
So my job in law enforcement is that I enforce the laws, and if there's somebody that is breaking those laws, it's very clear to me that we will handle that appropriately and move forward whatever way deems necessary. I mean, every single case that we have at St. Charles County that has a child element to it, we take up to our prosecuting attorney's office. It doesn't matter if you are within government, top law enforcement official in the county, or whoever that might be. We'll still send it up to a prosecutor and have that looked at by a prosecuting attorney's office with all the facts that we do in our investigation.
I'm glad to hear. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Next up is Stephanie Kaiser, Child Abuse and Neglect Board. Senator Schnelting, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I am here to present Ms. Stephanie Kaiser from St. Peters, Missouri. That seems a little loud. Who has been appointed by the governor to the Child Abuse, Neglect, and Review Board. She comes with over 30 years of law enforcement experience, 16 of which she was assigned to the major crime against persons unit, with the bulk of her caseload being crimes against little kids. Ms. Kaiser serves as a member of the Major Case Squad, a polygraph examiner, and a member of the St. Charles County area-wide crisis intervention team as a crisis negotiator. She's a recipient of several awards, including Officer of the Year in 2020. I met her years ago through a mutual friend, and I think one of the first discussions we actually had was about protecting kids. So she's a huge advocate for kids. She has a passion for protecting and serving children. So I believe that her experience and her background, as well as her passion, will serve us well on the board. So with that, open to questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the nominee? Senator Moon.
Good morning. I'd like to pose the same question as I asked the two before you about if you come across some suspicions that there might be some participation by some high officials. Is that something that you think needs to be addressed, and how would you handle?
I'm retired now. I'd like to answer that as if I were still in law enforcement. I have, in fact, investigated and worked crimes against kids that did involve not only law enforcement but other ranking officials. There's absolutely nothing to do but follow it all the way through to prosecution. I've interviewed them. I've had them in interview room number 2 where, in fact, all the magic does happen, and work that all the way through. Trafficking could involve all different types of people, victims of all ages and perpetrators of all ages, races, etc., and of all levels all the way through. So you have to expect it and then work it all the way through. So without a doubt.
I'm pleased to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any further question for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Next up is Shannon Stevens, Child Abuse and Neglect Board. Senator Moon.
First meeting we had, thank you. First meeting we had, I recognized her desire to do the right thing. She presented a problem to me and then worked to advocate a solution. And so I hope someone will ask her the same question that I've asked the other appointees. But if not, I'm pretty certain that she will take the right steps and do what it takes to protect these children. So I present to you Shannon Stevens.
Any questions for the nominee? Guess I should ask Senator Moon, do you have any questions for the nominee since you're not up here to ask them?
I would like to ask the question. Shannon, you heard the questions to the other nominees. What would you do if you came into a situation and were apprised that there might be some high officials, law enforcement perhaps, involved in abusing and maybe even trafficking children? What tact would you take to put an end to it?
So I don't care who you are. I don't care what your name is. I don't care what you've done. You are accused or are found to have harmed a child, you need to be held to the highest standard that we can hold you to and to the most extreme protections for children and punishments that are allotted to anybody.
Any further questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve. Next up is Jamie Adams, also on the Child Abuse and Neglect Board. Senator Hudson, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. For the record, State Senator Brad Hudson, representing Missouri's 33rd Senatorial District, here carrying the nomination of Jamie Adams for the Child Abuse and Neglect Review Board. Jamie has spent over a decade working as a school counselor and director of school counseling in both elementary and secondary education. Throughout her career, she has remained actively engaged in her profession, and in every role she has held, her work has centered on advocating for children. She has firsthand experience identifying and reporting abuse and neglect, supporting children through trauma, and working closely with educators, law enforcement, and child welfare professionals. Ms. Adams brings real, hands-on experience and a commitment to protecting children, and I respectfully ask for your support in the appointment to the Child Abuse and Neglect Review Board. And I'll now turn it over to Jamie for any questions.
Thank you, Senator Hudson. Any questions for this nominee? Senator Moon.
Good morning. I'll ask the same question. If you were to have some knowledge about elected official or judges or law enforcement that might be involved in trafficking or abusing children, what tact would you take to put an end to it?
So it is child abuse and neglect. I want to draw a line through the abuse and through the neglect. And whoever's doing that to the children, I want to protect them. It doesn't matter who you are. You will have to be accountable for what you've done.
Further questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up is Gordon Weathers, Stone County Presiding Commissioner. Senator Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. For the record again, State Senator Brad Hudson, representing Missouri's 33rd Senatorial District. I'm here now carrying the nomination of Gordon Weathers for the position of Stone County Presiding Commissioner. Gordon has called Stone County home since 1997, has built a long track record of local service rooted in integrity, values, and a strong sense of responsibility. Over the years, he has served as a Reed Springs City Alderman, board president for both Public Water Supply District Number 2 of Stone County and Sewer District Number 1. He's volunteered with the Southern Stone County Fire Protection District for 14 years, including 10 years as Public Information Officer, and has served on the Reed Springs School Board. In the short time he has been in this role, Gordon has already shown a real commitment to listening, staying accessible, and taking input from Stone County constituents seriously. I respectfully ask for your support in the appointment of Gordon Weathers to the position of Stone County Presiding Commissioner, and I'm happy to turn it over to him for any questions you may have.
Thank you for allowing me to be here today.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Senator Moon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We may have a mutual friend in Larry Sifford.
Yes, I think everybody is a friend of Larry Sifford.
Yeah, he's an upstanding fella. And we had a brief conversation this past weekend, and you were the topic. And he really has high praise for you. And so he sold me already. But I do have a question with regard to county budgets and things of that sort. We are probably under the gun at the state level of some budget constraints. What will you do or have you done at the county level to address concerns about revenues and expenditures?
Well, maybe I'm a little embarrassed to say we're doing well in Stone County. As Senator Hough likes to say, Stone County is God's country, and we're tourism related. Our tourism is strong in Stone County. Our tourism is growing in Stone County. We're seeing year-over-year sales tax increase. Our home values are going up, so our property taxes have gone up. I'm happy to say that we're not having, we just got through with the budget, we'll approve it tomorrow. We're not having those discussions about what we have to cut. We're having discussions on better pay for our county employees so we can keep them from being stolen into the private sector. So our finances are strong. We have about an $8 million reserve, and we're budgeted to carry over about $2.4 million at the end of 2026. So we're excited about what's going on in Stone County. We have Silver Dollar City that's expanding. The city of Branson West is just exploding in the things that they have going on there. So we are doing very well financially in Stone County. I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud of our fellow commissioners that have been fiscally responsible, and I plan to continue to be fiscally responsible and continue being a good steward of those tax dollars.
When the 29th, or the Stone County was in the 29th, we had a share and share alike agreement between the counties, and I'm sure some of the other counties would certainly appreciate sharing again. I'm pulling your leg.
I'll run that by my commissioners. We'll take it for a vote.
I'm glad to hear you're doing well, and thanks for taking on this task.
Thank you.
Senator Berger?
Thank you. Are you serving in that capacity now? And if you are, how long have you been in office?
Yes, sir. I took office on September the 22nd, so a little over 90 days.
Do you have the use tax in Stone County?
We do have a 3% use tax.
3% use tax?
Yes, sir.
Do any of the cities have it, do you know, in the county?
I believe Branson West, I can't speak for Kimberling City and Reed Spring, but I'm not positive on the cities. I know Reed Spring passed that use tax. I don't know if they've implemented it yet.
What's your population?
Our population is about 34,000, and that's growing, so that's based off kind of the last census.
What's a half cent sales tax bring you? Do you know that number?
Pardon that?
What's a half cent sales tax bring you as far as revenue is concerned?
What does that half cent sales tax? I'm sorry, I don't have that number off the top of my head. I apologize.
Thank you.
Any other questions? See none. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Berger? Next up is Joseph Palmer, appointed to the Missouri Real Estate Appraisers Commission. Senator Berger.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Jamie Berger, representing the 27th District. Thank you for the opportunity to present Mr. Joseph Palmer, who goes by Brian, appointee to the Missouri Real Estate Appraisers Commission. Mr. Palmer is the owner of Palmer Land Services, LLC, and has served as a certified general real estate appraiser for the past 14 years. He also works as a self-employed real estate broker, bringing extensive experience in property valuations, land services, and real estate transaction. He is an associate member of the Appraisal Institute and the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers. I believe this experience would make him a good member of the Missouri Real Estate Appraisers Commission, and thank you. He'll be open to any questions.
So what's the average price of farmland per acre in your area, if I wanted to buy it?
It depends on whether
Row crop.
You want rice ground, cotton ground, bean ground.
We'll do cotton. Cotton.
You want it on the ridge or in the bottoms, or?
I can see right now that I'm not sure about you.
I can tell you I've seen it sell from anywhere from $10,000 an acre to $15,000 an acre.
That's a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's about what it is in our.
The
we don't
commodity
have any
prices
cotton,
do
but-
not support it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Bean?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm safe.
We don't have any questions other than that, so thank you for your willingness to serve.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Here. Eddie Sargent, appointed to the Elevator Safety Board. Senator Searpoy.
Good morning, committee members. Mike Serport from the 8th Senate District. Today I'm here to present Eddie Sargent. Eddie was recently appointed to the Missouri Elevator Safety Board by Governor Kehoe, an honor that reflects both his expertise and his reputation within the field. He currently serves as the business manager for the International Union of Elevator Constructors, IUEC Local 12 in Kansas City, where 2026 marks his third year in that leadership role. Before stepping into management, Eddie spent 26 years working as an elevator field technician. During that time, he gained extensive hands-on expertise in elevator safety, operations, construction, repair, maintenance, and inspection experience that gives him a practical, real-world understanding of the challenges and responsibilities involved in ensuring safe vertical transportation. His background makes him a valuable asset to the Elevator Safety Board and to everyone who relies on safe, reliable elevator systems every day. Thank you for considering his nomination.
All right, I have a question. Do we have enough elevator people to work on elevators? Because, I have some kids in construction, and it seems like it's hard to get someone, to come and inspect something or fix it.
We could definitely use more, and we open up our apprenticeship program every 2 years, which is getting ready to open again. We have a list right now of about 50 people. It started out at 100, but we go through that as the companies need new hires. So there's a website you can go to. We also work with schools to get qualified people onto that list. So
okay.
just the schools work with basic skills, and whether you're going to be placed as an electrician or an elevator technician, figure out what you want, and then we place those folks. But I would say we could use more, but that is up to the companies to hire more personnel. But they definitely run lean.
Well, why would they not hire them if there's a demand for that? I guess not enough demand
the
to
simple answer would be
justify
profitability. More manpower is more cost, so they try to do as much as they can with as few as possible. But we have a list ready to go, and we could put people to work as soon as they're available. So I think last year we put on 48 new elevator, and that's just in the Kansas City area. So that doesn't count St. Louis. Dave Scott was out here last month, and I think they put on about the same.
Okay.
So
I always remind everybody, if you inspect these elevators, do the one on the right. Were
yeah,
you
the
here
one
before?
on the one on the left. We recognize your grievance on that one.
No, the left one is good.
Oh, the
It's
left's
right.
good. I thought it was the left.
Senator Moon.
May I inquire of the chair?
Yes.
Was it last week too that you mentioned the governor's elevator was down as well?
No.
It's just the other. Well, the
I
governor's
don't
elevator.
ride on the governor's elevator.
Well, it's down today too. I just.
Is it?
I saw the out of service sign and hung my head in shame as I walked by.
So does that mean you're on it?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Berger?
Is the closed door button on an elevator actually hooked up to something?
Yes, it is.
Is the open the door button actually hooked up to something?
Yes, yeah. And instead of holding your hand in front of the detector edge, you should hold the door open button, otherwise it will time out and close. So.
Has it always been that way, or at one point in time were they not hooked up to something?
They should have always been hooked up. They have to operate for fire service if they would go into fire mode, then that should be tested every year to make sure those buttons work. There's a lot of times in buildings they'll set a timer on a door close depending on the occupancy, but put a longer time on it, maybe a retirement home or something like that. Hospitals, if you don't have a lot of time on the doors, they'll hit them with a chair or a x-ray machine. So it's probably a timer that you're aggravated with.
In the pit under the bottom of the elevator, are there coil springs?
It depends on the elevator, the speed of it. So there's either hydraulic shocks down there to stop it, buffers is what we call them, or like on a hydraulic elevator, a slower speed elevator, it would have springs. Or on very slow, the new stuff has a rubber bumper.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
We're very paranoid about our elevators here. Senator Bean.
Well, since we're having this really in-depth line of questioning, I have to ask this question. Senator Bratt and I were having an in-depth discussion, I believe, about this last week, so I need to know. If you're in an elevator and it falls and you jump before it hits, are you all right?
So Mythbusters covered that, and chances are it's not going to work.
All right. Anyone else? We've solved all the technical issues. Thank you. Oh, no, wait. Senator Bratton has a question.
That was my response. I told him that Mythbusters had busted the myth that you can't jump.
And if they do fall, there's actually safeties, emergency brakes that should set when it sees an overspeed, and it should set the emergency brakes before you make it to the buffers. You could hit the buffers at contract speed, but you shouldn't overspeed into them.
Well, we're not going to test that, so thank you for being here. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Bernie? William Eckert, also Elevator Safety Board, Senator Bernstetter.
Is that all right, Harrison? Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Like Madam Chair said, Mike Bernstetter representing the 6th District. I have Bill Eckert here. I never dreamed you all would have so many questions about elevators, but it's my honor to introduce William Eckert as a member of the Elevator Safety Board. He's a lifelong resident of Missouri. He lives in Morgan County since 2020. He's currently employed by Schindler Elevator Corporation as a corporate technical auditor, traveling throughout the United States, facilitating the implementation of elevator safety standards. He is currently a certified elevator operator and holds an elevator mechanic license in Missouri. And if you still have any more questions after the last gentleman, I'm sure he'd be able to answer them. Thank you.
So if we had an elevator that needed to be inspected so that a building that had just been constructed could open, could we just call you and you can come and look at it, or is that how that works?
I am qualified to do that, although I'm not employed for that purpose.
But we could work it out, right?
Yes.
All right.
Make it work.
All right. Any other questions? Senator Berger?
Thank you. How many elevator companies are there in the United States? Do you know that?
Oh, I have no clue. It's
Is Miller still a company and Otis still a company?
Otis is still a company.
Miller?
Miller. There is a Millar company.
Millard, okay. And what company do you work for?
I work for Schindler Elevator Corporation.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have your cell phone in here?
I do have a cell phone in here.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to get that number because we might need you. All right. Any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you for your willingness to serve. Thank you for being here today. Logan Hobbs, State Board of Mediation. Senator Bernstetter.
Thanks, Harrison. Thank you again, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Mr. Logan Hobbs, I'm pleased to appointee for the neutral chair on the position of state mediation, not meditation. A member of the state board should possess experience in labor relations. He's an impartial, objective perspective on each petition throughout the board. He serves as chair as an acting capacity for a year and a half now, alongside his duties as a division director of labor standards with the Missouri Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. If he looks familiar, it's because he's used to serve as our legislative liaison for that department, and he'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? Well, give me an example of what you do,
Sure.
how that goes.
So the board has two basic objectives when it receives a petition, and that is to determine whether or not the union petitioned for constitutes an appropriate unit. So basically, is everyone who should be included in the union part of the union, and is everybody who is in the side of management not included in that business? And then we also conduct the elections to certify that the union who is petitioning for the group actually has majority representation status. So that's a simple majority vote, and we do that as well.
So what are the hang-ups? What is your role in that? I mean, give me an example of a holdup that you mediated.
Okay, so for example, I would say one of the more common issues we've got to take care of is when you have, let's say, a fire department, and there are captains in the fire department who have been captains, and that's their title for a long time, but their job duties have changed over the years. That is a common one we see where the city or the fire district is saying, this person should not be included in the union. They're a supervisor, and then the union might posit that no, under the Missouri public sector labor law, this person really is more like the firefighters they're out fighting the fire with, and they should be included in the union, not on the side of management. And so that's a very common one. And what we do to determine that is we look at the job duties, the pay, all sorts of different factors that have been established in the case law. And we say, yeah, you are truly a supervisor, or we say, really, your title is supervisory in nature, but the duties that you do put you more on the side of your frontline worker. So that's a common one.
Are you pretty busy?
The board receives about 20 petitions a year because it's the public sector labor board. If we took private sector cases, we'd be busy all the time. But because it's public sector, it's really more of a part-time, I would say, role. But
all right. Any other, Senator Berger?
When you talk about fire departments, like talking about captains, can they actually be in the rank and file union?
They can. It depends. So it's usually the middle management position or a supervisor who is a supervisor in name. Think also of like a working foreman on a group of linemen. Right. So if you've got a foreman and they're out there and they're doing the same work as all of the other people in the electric department, and they're not able to hire, they're not able to fire, they're not paid too terribly differently, like they're an hourly pay rate rather than salary. In truth, that person is, the case law has determined over the years that person should be a part of the union. Whereas if all of those factors were the opposite of what I just said, no, they would truly be management, and we've got to exclude them.
Can people on salary be in the union?
So they can. There's no one factor that is determinative for whether or not someone's going to be included or not. It could be that, the preponderance of the evidence, it's really a tough call, and there's a special factor that we're going to consider. The case law is very broad for the state board.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? See none. Thank you for being willing to serve. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Next up, Edward Clausen for the Conservation Commission. Senator Bernstetter.
I'm not going to answer questions for you. Thank you, Madam Chair, again, and members of the committee. I have the honor of introducing Edward Clausen as a member of the Missouri Conservation Commission. Ed and his wife Debbie own 40 acres at the border of Montauk and Cole County, which adjoins 500 acres of Conservation Department property. Following conservation guidance, they have engaged in timber stand improvement, cleared non-invasive trees and plants, and several acres of wildflowers and native grasses. He has hunted, fished, floated, and hiked and camped all over the state, taking advantage of conservation resources. He is a life member of the Conservation Federation of Missouri and served on the board of directors of the Friends of 11 Point. Ed is a hearing officer for lawyer disciplinary proceedings. He was appointed to the advisory committee of the Missouri Supreme Court overseeing lawyer ethics and discipline in 2016 and served until 2024. He completed mediation training and is Rule 17 qualified. He is a shareholder in Newman, Comley, Ruth, a local law firm here. Ed and his wife Debbie have 3 children, Matthew, Brooke, and David, and 1 grandson, Hudson. There's a lot of things I could say about Ed. I've known Ed for quite a while, but one thing I will mention is when years ago, before Mike Kehoe became governor, when he was just a car dealer, he actually talked to Governor Kehoe about being on the Conservation Commission years ago. It's something that he's wanted to do for a long time, so I'm sure he will do a great job on the Conservation Commission, and he'd be happy to answer any questions.
Why do you want to be on there?
Missouri's got the best conservation department in the country. It provides so many opportunities for people in the state, and not just out in the country. I mean, you look at like bush wildlife outside of St. Louis. I've bragged about the conservation department for many, many years and about the resources that the sales tax is allowed it, the 8-cent sales tax. And so, I mean, I want to be a steward of the resources of this department and just perpetuate what's going on now. I say that being as an adult here in Jefferson City, I know a lot of people that work for the Conservation Department. They're a motivated group of people that went to school to go to work for the Missouri Conservation Department. And they're wildlife biologists. There's people that have to do with plants, which I'm very interested in, plants and trees. Just to be associated with them and to be making some high-level decisions or have a role in making those high-level decisions is really one of the highest honors of my life, honestly, given the opportunity to serve. And I don't say that lightly. It's just really the truth. I'm just incredibly honored and humbled to have the opportunity.
So up in our neck of the woods, there's kind of a rub between sometimes the Conservation Department and hunters and people that raise deer. And
I understand.
What do you think about that?
Well, I've grown up in the country. I've been in a lot of courthouses. I'm a lawyer and travel around. I see things that happen in the courtrooms, including involving with conservation agents. I think that some people, to be honest with you, it's hard. I've said this publicly before. Some people, for some reason, think that they got to be cheating or not following the rules in order to have a good time hunting. And so, I don't know what to say about that, except that I know the people that are doing this job. I mean, you put a uniform on and you go out in the woods. And it's dangerous, frankly. It has been in the past for these agents, and I'm very sympathetic to that. They have to go out in the field. But, go somewhere else. I mean, we all benefit from, or those that enjoy the resources of Missouri, from what the Conservation Department's done, whether we appreciate it or not, But if you go to other states, we're the envy of the country. And to be associated with that and to be in a leadership role potentially with that is just incredible. So,
All right. Senator Moon.
Hello again.
Hello again.
I appreciate our meeting and your candor as we spoke. And Senator O'Loughlin touched on some of what I wanted to say, and that is with regard to CWD and the feral hog issue especially, and dead animal pickup along the roadways. With the last one, there seems to be some confusion on who owns the animals. And I know conservation often has made in the past the declaration or statement that they own the animals. And so you don't have to answer that question today, but there still is a problem with dead animals along the highways. I see many of them along the way. I would imagine that some residents of the state would probably gladly take them. I don't know that they would harvest the meat, but at the same time, there probably needs to be some conversation about how that problem is taken care of. With regard to CWD and feral hogs, I don't think that the way that the department has handled that to date has been decisive or taking care of the problem. So I would encourage you to listen to the residents, and I can point you to some people who would gladly tell you what they know. Some of them have had problems for years now, and so I know that they would be appreciative of someone to listen and actually take action. So hopefully you can help in that regard. So again, I appreciate our conversation. I wish you well in the endeavor. I don't think it's going to be an easy one. Because if it is, you're probably not getting it done. And so I would like to forward some contact information if they're willing, and that way you can at least have some places to begin. So thank you.
I think a lot of the people on those particular subjects, they know where the Conservation Commission is, and I think they let their voices be heard. You know, they make their voices heard.
Yeah, I think they have. I've been in some of those meetings, but there hasn't been any resolution, and that's the rub that's the folks who are putting information in my ear. And I don't know enough about it to tell you what to do, but I believe they do because they're living in the areas where they're suffering problems. And so I think that something needs to change in how it's dealt with, and hopefully you can be the tip of the spear there and to be the advocate for both sides.
I'm appointed as an independent, and that's how I wanted to be appointed.
You betcha.
That's how I perceive myself.
Well, based on our conversation, that's what I gathered. And so, if you keep that mindset, I think you'll be able to find what the answer is. And it may not be the perfect solution, but it'd be something that will hopefully lead to that good solution in the end. So, thank you again.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Bratton.
Yeah, thank you for being willing to serve on the commission. I'm an avid hunter, fisherman, and deer management. I love to do. I nerd out like on that sort of thing. One thing that I have I'm just throwing an idea. So my family, we have a large farm, and we really try to focus in on deer management and like being able to thin out our herd and have better genetics. We have a 4-point restriction in Bates County is where our family farm is. And one thing that I ended up being able to harvest a 7-pointer. And I know this is like, people are like, what in the world is this guy talking about? But this is legit. Like when you spend a lot of money on your herd, this is things that you take seriously. But there's a 4-point restriction that in order to harvest an animal, there's that restriction and you're not able to take anything. Well, we have certain genetics like on our farm where like with only 6-point deer, and they become, mature large deer, and they continue to spread their genetics. They're non-harvestable. I was able to take one because he got a little kicker, and I was able to actually get him out of the herd to continue to spread those genetics. But looking at, I totally agree with the 4-point, and I love what the restriction has done to help us to get a better quality deer so they can actually grow. But maybe some sort of a, an allowance for when it's a mature deer with, with bases over a certain inch, to where you're able to harvest a 6-point deer to get that sort of deer out of your herd. Because again, I watched this deer for probably 4 years, where he was a large 6. I know, again, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to think of ways to be able to make your genetics better and make the hunting experience better. Again, when you're spending a bunch of money on your food plots and all these sorts of things, to have that capability, and even if you have to work with your area conservation agent maybe, but just to have that flexibility for management. So just wanted to throw that idea at you. Another one is blaze orange. Is everywhere else you can have camo blaze orange, and in the state of Missouri you'll get a big hefty fine if you have camo blaze orange. Just throwing that out there.
What's the point of having camo blazed orange? I hate to be asking you a question.
Well, it's honestly for the animal that you're hunting, so you're at least broke up a little bit. The person seeing color can see the blaze, but you have a breakup to where you're not standing out like a sore thumb. That's the reasoning behind that.
I think it's a real good idea to wear orange if you're walking in the woods during deer.
I'm not saying I'm not saying to do away. I'm saying a blaze camo pattern to be allowed is what I'm saying. So, but that's not allowed in the state of Missouri. So, I just wanted to throw those ideas out there because those are things that I just see like, well, why would I get a ticket even though I have orange on it? Just has a camo pattern to it. It doesn't make sense, but. I appreciate you, and just wanted to throw that out there. So, what are your ideas for, like, what are some objectives you wish to accomplish as a commissioner?
Well, I mean, I'm particularly, I'm interested in fish and animals, but I'm really very interested in habitat for them, and this timber stand improvement, where you select cut trees, and you can go down in southern Missouri and see where, we've hired people. There's timber companies that have come in and pulled trees out of it. And actually on our governor's property, I've seen it done. It's incredible what that can do to a forest. It just totally revitalizes it, and it allows the trees that are quality trees to grow. And so I'm really interested in that part of it more than maybe anything. So I don't know. Yeah, thank you.
Senator Berger?
Thank you for coming into my office too. But when you left there, you were the most enthusiastic applicant I've ever seen, and I think you will serve us well. And I appreciate your enthusiasm, and look forward to your positive outlook on our Conservation Commission. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Sometimes people don't really like people that are that enthusiastic to have an appointed position, but there'll be a lot of, the people that I've learned already from a couple meetings. I mean, there are some real pros at the Conservation Department, and they tee up the issues for the commission very, very well. Those decisions are not being made just in the abstract. They're based on some people doing a lot of legwork.
Well, I'm the eternal optimist, and I think like you think. I think the best of everything, so I appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Thank you for being here. We're going to go to Lee Harris, appointed to the Committee on Professional Counselor, Senator Nicola.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you very much, and I am pleased to present Dr. Lee Harris for appointment to the State Committee for Professional Counselors. Dr. Harris is a licensed professional counselor with more than a decade of clinical and supervisory experience, including owning and operating a private practice, leading large community mental health programs, and supervising counselors across multiple disciplines. He holds a doctorate of behavioral health and brings both frontline clinical insight and strong administrative leadership. I believe Dr. Harris is well qualified and will be an asset to this board, and I respectfully ask for your support of his appointment.
All right. Thank you for that. Senator Moon, are you? Yep.
I am.
Yes, he is.
Good morning, Dr. Harris. Thank you for presenting yourself today here. It's not any news to us, I think, that how social media and artificial intelligence and even just relationships, how they've changed over the recent years. And in my opinion, it doesn't seem to be good for adults or kids. And I'm not sure if your practice is targeted toward either one, but I noticed you've had some experience with children as well. Mm-hmm. When you think of the influence that's having on our temperaments and relationships and carry that over to education, I know this isn't your field, but what is your opinion when you put all that together, and how can we manage that better as legislators, as parents, as teachers, to help people cope with it a little bit better? Is there an answer? Can it be done? And what might you offer as a solution in your practice?
Yeah. So I do work a lot with kids and teenagers and young adults, and social media is a topic that's come up quite a lot in working with them and helping the parents, the families, and I have worked with some school districts in different things in part of my practice. So social media does have its benefits. However, I think a lot for teens there are more downsides to it than there are benefits. The shortened attention span that you can get by constantly scrolling through things doesn't really transition well to a school setting where you're required to sit for hours at a time. Online bullying, the amount of information that you can be exposed to without real limits. You know, no matter what limits it seems like parents put on a device, a kid already knows a way around it, or they know a friend who knows a way around it. So it's really hard to have something like that that can be, on one hand, such a benefit, but also such a hindrance to people. It really starts with education and with involvement in parents. It shouldn't be, completely unrestricted allowance of anything technology-wise, especially the younger the kid. The more that parents work with kids to understand the benefits and the downsides of it and how to react responsively, but also to have open communication so that if a kid has questions or needs help, they feel like they have someone that they can go to versus, I've been bullied online, I don't feel like I can talk to anyone, and it continues on and on.
Mm-hmm. I know that the Professional Counseling Commission will primarily deal with abuses within the practitioners. Will you be able to guide counselors and with the knowledge that you have and maybe help them to see how they might be able to help others that they're counseling?
I think, looking at the rules and adjusting the way that we look at emerging technology and addressing those things. Social media, AI, all of the use of new technology isn't really addressed in much of professional counseling. It's hard to address that.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is in the with the your participation on the board, mm-hmm. will you be able to present new information, or they probably have access to it through their continuing education, but will you set guidelines that they would need to keep in mind as they're counseling patients?
As far as helping clients who are learning how to use social media?
Well, I guess, and maybe I'm not making this very clear, but since we know there are problems, sometimes the user doesn't realize the problem, doesn't recognize it. But as a counselor, it seems like you would be able to see what might be causing some of the grief in the patient, and there probably already guidelines set up for that. And I'm not familiar with all the training that you have, but will you, in your capacity here, will you be able to guide professionals so that they can adequately help those that they're counseling? Because it seems like one of the points that you're going to be cast or charged with is looking at counselors who have abused their authority and dealing with that. Does it go into the other part, though, where you will also be looking at guidelines that counselors use as they treat their patients?
Yeah, the education and experience that go into being a counselor, as well as the supervision. Once a person graduates with a master's in counseling degree, they continue under supervision for another 2 years. I think providing those supervisors with the knowledge of how do you help guide someone in emerging technology, social media, how do you help newer therapists learn to advocate for those things.
So you will have some input there?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Oh, Senator Brenton.
Just to kind of piggyback on that, and I wasn't going to ask anything in regards to all the AI, but now that they're coming out where these platforms are having AI friends, and I listened to it's a podcast, Sean Ryan. He had this gentleman on there that goes after child predators and on these like Roblox and all these platforms, and even talking into how AI can go really dark with these kids, and even telling kids that their best option is to kill themselves. I just don't envy your profession and how you're able to combat and help these kids when this is such a almost demonic force that has come against our kids. How do they escape it? I guess how do you counsel that? I mean, I guess that's a question. How do you do that?
Unfortunately, a lot of the counseling happens after something has happened, which is great for the people who've experienced it, but it doesn't really do much to stop it. Doing things like holding parenting groups where you're teaching parents about how do you parent a child with all of these things going on? How are you aware of the signs? How do you create, a communication with your child where they can be open and ask you questions, but also that you're aware of what's going on and try and limit those things as much as possible. It's hard to always be on top of everything that changes and emerges. Like you said, the use of AI, am I talking to a real person? Am I talking to a computer program? But I think at the end of the day, it's creating that environment where parents are engaged with their kids, are knowing what's going on, and then if there are any ways to increase safeguards for kids and making sure that they don't have access to things that we know are harmful for them.
I know the saying of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, but when we're talking about like these platforms, and I bring up the Roblox because it's the #1 child game in the entire world, and a lot of parents don't realize the detriment that platform is. They've even sent out as an organization to stop these investigators from seeking these people out that are like child sex predators, and or even more demented. They've even put out a cease and desist for these organizations that are like, they call them vigilantes going after these psychopaths, after our kids. I guess how can we and how can I guess the counseling world educate these parents in how dangerous these games really are? Is that something that the counseling world is looking at? How can we get in front of this before now we're having to counsel these kids through? Is there an approach to something like that?
Not that I know as far as a systematic approach. I know there are a lot of organizations out there that will work with like parent-teacher associations or go to parenting nights and say, we would love to offer this training on the use of, internet gaming, on social media with kids, so that parents understand a lot of those risks and benefits. Like you said, Roblox is very much a kid game, the way that it looks, the way that it's set up. And unfortunately, there are a lot of not kids on there trying to do very dangerous and hurtful things.
Thank you. Sorry not to go down that rabbit trail, but unfortunately it's a rabbit trail that every single person that has a kid or a grandkid has to deal with those platforms. So thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing that, we're just going to have to shut the internet off, I think. That might be helpful. Thank you for your willingness to serve and for being here today. Our last person is Frank Cruz for the Conservation Commission, Senator Luetkemeyer.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Tony Luetkemeyer, representing the 34th Senatorial District, here to present my constituent Frank Cruz, who has been nominated for appointment to the State Conservation Commission. Mr. Cruz is a senior executive and business leader with a strong record of service. He has served as a board member for the Missouri Conservation Heritage Foundation since January of last year, and currently serves as president of Martin Hill Advisors, a role that he has held since November of 2014. In that capacity, he provides strategic guidance and advisory services to organizations seeking accelerated and sustainable growth. Mr. Cruz is an excellent candidate for the Conservation Commission. I'm honored to support his nomination. And if he gets any questions, you will see that he is very enthusiastic about serving on the Conservation Commission. That came forward immediately whenever we met back in district during the interim. So we're happy to answer any questions.
Unlike the elevator guys, you mean? All right. Any questions from anyone? Senator Bean?
Mr. Cruz, great to have you here today, and thank you for your willingness to serve. I got a little bit of a question of, with your experiences in the outdoors, and what do you think that experience and what do you want to bring to the Conservation Commission?
Well, I believe that it is perhaps our most important resource and asset for the betterment of our society in this great state that we have. It provides safe space for so many people to go out and enjoy. It has tremendous health benefits. And of course, it is, I think, we have no peer among state agencies, peer state agencies, I mean in other states, conservation agencies, on how we have protected and enhanced our tremendous natural heritage. And I see more and more opportunities for our citizens, all 6 million of them, to really enjoy and be a part of this great heritage. And I'll be a passionate advocate for that, and that's what I really do see as part of my obligation.
The one thing, and I agree with you 100%, I mean, Missouri is just fantastic in its natural resources and what it has to offer. The only thing that I'd just tell you is, who you hang out with does kind of,
I sometimes don't make the best decisions with my friends, but I'm working on that.
Trips to Blairstown would have me concerned. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
All right. Anyone else? Senator Moon?
Good morning, Mr. Cruz. I came out of my office today and I looked to my right down toward the governor's office and I saw a couple walking hand in hand, and I thought, you don't see that very often anymore, where you have someone who is committed to their girlfriend, or maybe it's
She's
your
my
wife.
wife.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. I figured it was your wife. But I commend you for that, because that, sometimes we lose that romanticism as we get older, and I'm sure your wife appreciates that too. But that's a good quality in you.
Thank you. It's rare that I can get her to hold my hand in public, so I always take that opportunity.
By the way, now that you mentioned that, we're going to have to get another picture because we made a foul. We didn't have her come up for the picture that we had earlier, so we'll have to do that over.
Okay, very good.
That would be wonderful.
So my question would be to you as well with regard to CWD and feral hogs. There are ongoing problems, and I'd like to, and I think you've already suggested that you will. talk to these folks who are there, who are the recipients of their croplands being torn up by the hogs, and then they go into a national forest and they can't follow them in there to take care of the problem. And then with the dead deer on the side of the road, that's another problem, whether it's MoDOT or conservation. Who's supposed to pick those up? And whether or not it could be kind of a community effort. I'm not sure if you'd get them all done by residents in the area, but you might have some success there. So I would just encourage you to have your eyes and ears wide open, and to there may be some people who are angry, but I believe if you and the others listen intently, I think you'll make friends, and especially if you work toward solving some of their problems. And so I just commend you for Mr. Clausen too for being willing to take this on, and look forward to hearing some good reports as well.
Well, thank you, Senator, and I assure you that I feel one of our obligations on the commission is to listen to our constituents in this state and provide good, real feedback to the department in their decision-making processes. And I will lean into those conversations and make myself available for certain for any of our constituents who have an opinion, good, bad, or otherwise, and try to craft policies that are the benefit of the state. Thank you.
Senator Bratton?
Well, thank you for being willing to serve in this capacity. Now, you heard my conversation earlier and being an enthusiast. What are you an enthusiast when it comes to outdoors, hunting, fishing, or whatever, I guess? Is there a certain, like, animal you like to hunt? Like, what's your bent? You know, I mean, I know for me, it's like, if I were in your position, it'd be like deer management would be like how, you know, that'd be my area. What's yours?
Sure. Well, if I could pick the animals I could hunt, I would hunt upland game birds every day. We just don't have that many of them around anymore. So I'm an avid deer hunter. We hunt I'm an avid fisherman, but I hike almost every day. And so I'm an active user of our outdoor resources, but I guess you'd say my passion would be quail hunting. I just don't get to do it enough.
Well, so I don't want to age myself too much, but I remember growing up and being a young teenager, and like even walking to a stand, you'd jump covey of quail
Absolutely.
Everywhere. And it's just, you may hear a bobwhite and off in the distance, but you don't have that capability any longer. And that's funny you say that's kind of your heart is in that area. One thing I have noticed, so I noticed the turkey population has bumped up. I know like raccoons and possums, they're nest raiders, and you know, they really have detriment, and you know, all the types of farming and stuff. I understand that. What are your thoughts? I know they're federally protected, but on hawks, because most of your birds, their fear and they pay attention to the aerial predator probably a lot more than most other predators. Mm-hmm. When I was young, I remember you didn't really see a whole lot. You did see them, but now I see a hawk literally every other fence post.
Yeah, they're thick. Yeah.
I mean, what's your thoughts on potential? We manage coyotes. We manage literally every other predator species. Now we have aerial predator species that is federally protected, and they are rampant. Do you think there's some sort of correlation, or you know, is there some sort of a lobby effort that the premier agency of the entire United States for conservation may need to start expressing the need to maybe have a little bit of a management for hawks? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think the department has a very active research program ongoing with quail. And I do believe that our best resource for increasing quail populations is through active management of habitat and providing more space and more education to our citizens on how they can independently create habitat for themselves. As far as going after raptors, which are federally protected, I think it's a really hard slog to get done, and I don't think you'd find the department to be an advocate for that, because they do provide a tremendous benefit, obviously, for as carrion eaters in our society. But I will also say that the department's job is to listen, and we are a scientifically oriented and driven organization, and our job is to look in deeply into issues and determine, is there some flexibility on any issue? I don't care if it's raising mushrooms, okay? Yep. And as a leader, our department we have sort of an obligation to provide what I would say is more progressive thinking on some of our issues that have, dominated conservation policy for years. Personally, I would not be an advocate for going after raptors, but nonetheless, that doesn't mean I can't have an open mind to it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you fielding the question. I know it's a lengthy one, but look forward to seeing you on the commission.
Well, thank you very much.
We have a lot of geese in our front yard, and I'd like to get rid of them. And they make my dogs sick, so I thought you couldn't kill geese, but Bean says you can go ahead and do that. Is that right?
Well, he's a senator.
All right. I think that covers it. Thank you for being willing to serve and being here today.
Thank you all.
So that concludes our hearing. I make a motion for us to enter executive session. Do I have a second? All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? We're now in executive session. I now move we roll all these 23 nominees and 13 reappointments into one slate. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion on this motion? Oops. What did it?
Training the new kid.
So I moved that we roll all 23 nominees and 13 reappointments into one slate. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We now have a slate before us. I move that we do pass the slate out of committee. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing no more discussion, Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senators O'Laughlin.
Aye.
Lukemeyer. Aye. Bean. Aye. Beck. Aye. Bratton. Brown. Berger. Moon. Aye. Mosley. Roberts. Aye. Williams.
I move we adjourn. All those in favor? We are adjourned.
Full 2 hours.
About wrecked my chair.